don't you know that God is love? Didn't you remember him hugging you and loving on you and Adam? You think he's going to kick you out of this paradise? You think he was serious? Are you kidding me? Why would he create you if he's just going to kick you out of this lovely garden? If he's going to kill you, what kind of God do you think created you? Now come on, wake up. What's wrong with you? You say, wait a minute. What did you just say? Sounds good. Let me look at this tree one more time. She looked. It started looking lovely. It was pleasing to the eye. It was desirable. Maybe he didn't really mean it. It was sounding pretty harsh. But what's he going to kill me? He's going to kick me out. There's only two of us. And him. Who's going to eat all these trees and all these fruits? He's not going to really do it. So she obeyed her appetite, her hunger, her desire, rather than being obedient to God. What became of God? Whatever you listen to, whatever masters you, you become slave to it, okay? She looked at her appetite, her thirst, and her hunger. She said, that tree sure looks good. And she ate. And she gave some to Adam. And now they became their own God. Their appetite became their God. Like Philippians said, their stomach is their God. Their destiny is destruction. And people who think like this, their stomach is their God. Their appetite, their desire, their hunger. So she ate. Her appetite, her God. Now we have a problem. Now, if her appetite's her God, and she's her own God, and Adam's his own God, that means they have to save themselves. They have no Savior. They're their own Savior. They listen to it. If you treat yourself like you're God, then go ahead and save yourself. Go ahead and deliver yourself. Can you? No. You could comfort yourself and make yourself happy. But you can't really save yourself. And consequences. Now, let me ask you a classic question. Was God serious when he told me, don't you touch it, or you will die? Did he mean it? He meant it. He wasn't kidding. He wasn't joking. So he dressed Adam and Eve up, and he banished them gently, lovingly, out of paradise. And this is where you are now. The ground was cursed because of man, because he sinned. And man was cursed because of sin. Now, I'm destined to die. You're destined to die because we think we're our own God. Now we're going to save ourselves, and of course, unless we surrender to Christ. Became their own God. Appetite looked pleasing, was desirable. Let's do it. God wasn't kidding. He banished them out of that paradise. The earth was cursed, and man, and me and you, through him, received that curse. And God wasn't joking. When God tells you something, I don't think he's kidding. And Adam and Eve know he wasn't kidding. The devil knew he wasn't kidding, but he just told us that. To steer us away, to work us over. And he did. And he still does. And this is one of the biggest killers of man today, their appetite. Appetite being their God. It comforts them. It keeps them company, but it can't save them. There was a story, a preacher and his wife were babysitting one of their friend's kids. She's a 10-year-old, approximately 10-year-old little girl. And the father of the girl, when he dropped her off, he said, listen, I don't want you to panic, don't freak out, but my daughter has an imaginary cat. He just swung. So if you hear her talking or something, or calling over this cat, there's nothing really there, don't worry. Don't panic, don't scare her. He said, interesting, okay? He did it. He tells his audience, the people he was talking to, he said, this cat, it's imaginary, so it's not real. It probably comforts the little girl. And it probably keeps her company. But in reality, that cat is just an extension of the little girl. So it's not really there, it's just a little girl role-playing and keeping herself occupied, keeping herself company. The guy said, a lot of people have an imaginary God. A lot of people, most of the world have an imaginary God. That God keeps them company. He keeps them comforted. But that God is just an extension of themselves. Can that God really save them? Can that God really deliver them? That God has as much power as they have, which as me and you both know, we don't really have much power. So even though you have an imaginary God, that God can keep you company and comfort you, but he can't save you, he can't deliver you. A lot of people in this world. Consequences. God said, you touch it, you eat it, you'll die. Consequences to us, to people in general, to humans in general, are so far into the future, you know. Our life, we spend it right here. We're nearsighted. Nearsighted in optometry means you can only see right here. If I took out my contacts, I wouldn't be able to see to the third row, clearly. But I can see here great. Oh man, everything here is beautiful. So my eye, when it comes to consequences, is right here. I'm stuck on the reward that I'm going to get. I'm stuck on my appetite. I'm stuck on what's hungering me, what's keeping me thirsty, what I need immediately. My eyes are always right here. And humans, we're looking right here. But the consequences seem to be way far in the future. Oh, when I get there, I get there. We'll see what happens. Let me get it now. Let me have my selfish goals. Let me gratify. Let me be satisfied. Let me get it fast. Let me get it quick. Let me deal with it right now, because it's right here. And it looks so pretty, it's so pleasing to the eye, it's so desirable, where on the other consequences are so far away. Did God really mean what he said? Well, I'll find out when I get there. Our eyes are glued right here. The majority of the world. The majority of damage. The majority of destroyed lives. People are nearsighted. We only look at the reward that we could give our, what can I get now? Let's do it fast, let's do it quick. I look to the left, I look to the right. I don't see God, God don't see me. He didn't really say that. Let me get what I can get. Consequences are so far, I can't even see that. Oh, the end of life. Man, judgment day. Once I get there, I'll hire a lawyer. I'll work it out. Look how far. Let me deal with the moment at hand. So many destroyed lives. And the reward's rarely worth the consequence. Now, was that fruit worth the curse and death? Of course not. Simple observation in life. We know that people are too nearsighted. We're looking at what's immediately can give me some pleasure, can give me gratitude, can give me satisfied, and we don't pay attention to the consequences at all. Walk into a prison and interview people who are in jail long term. Ask them, was that 10 minutes worth 50 years of your life in prison? If he has any brains, he'd say, oh no. Was the crime worth the time? Absolutely not. The destruction and the loss of consequences far outweigh the reward in almost every category where we are too impatient, we're too nearsighted, we're not looking ahead. Was that pull trigger, it took you a second, and it got your anger fulfilled, got your rage out? Was it worth 70 years in prison? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's the problem with where we're at. Now, God designed an inheritance. He put an inheritance in store and in place for each and every human being. God said, I'm going to put something aside. Because remember, God said, or Jesus said in the Bible, I will for all men to be saved.